Cell's Sanctuary by The Cult is today's song. It's an arrangement for acoustic guitar. This is a really great song by The Cult. It's 3 chords. It's very, very simple. So chordally speaking, it's a walk in the park. It's D, C, and G all the way through the entire song. What makes this song great? Well, there's a couple of things that make this song great. The guitar riff is clearly a killer guitar riff, and people should know this riff, but this is a way to play it on one guitar and still have it kind of carry through, because what happens with the band recording is that it sits on top of this monster bass line. Very simple, but just a thunderous bass line that just rides those bass notes. It just goes D on 8th notes, C, and G. And that just anchors the whole song and allows this guitar to kind of float a little bit. So in the verses, the guitarist Billy Duffy is playing this kind of riff, and then when it changes to the C, he stays on that riff, and so that's kind of it plays against the bass, but it sounds really, really, really good. If you're on your own, you can't really do that, because you've got to move through those chords and you've got to keep this riff going through it. So here's a way to play this using chords, keeping those 3 chords moving through and keeping this riff almost exactly the same as what you hear on the recording. What we're doing, the guitarist plays it up higher on the neck here. There's no real advantage for us doing that on acoustic guitar, but there is an advantage to doing it down here on the 7th fret, in that when we go to the C chord, we're much closer to it. So there's less moving around. It makes more sense for us to do it down here. So as I said, this is an arrangement. This is how I would do it. Playing off the D open string and the 10th fret B string. Right, so they're like that. Down to the 8, down to the 7, and then down to the 7 on the G string. So you've got that first finger across both the G and the B strings. Then you slide down to 5 and you do these hammers. And that last note, you can play it here on the 7th fret of the D string. You can go, but then you don't have that open D string ringing open. So I think it sounds best if you slide down to the 2 on the G string like this. And you hear that D string keeps ringing. That's the first section. I'll play that through again. Second section, up to 7th fret on E string, back to 10 on the B, and then do those hammers again from 8 to 10 on the B string. And then you finish holding that 10 on the B and then playing the 10 on the E string as well. Then we launch into the band comes in and you kind of launch into that riff proper. So the intro, once again, I should point out as well that there is a delay effect on this guitar, which kind of gives you that little bit of it's almost like a slapback echo, but it's a delay effect. And I'll put it on now so you can hear the difference that it makes. So this is with the effect on. And I'll put up the exact time on the screen, if that helps anyone with a digital delay pedal. Then we move into the main riff. So that's just, okay? But you're playing those 3 strings. You're playing the open D, 7th fret G, 10th fret B, which goes down to 8 and down to 7. 10, 8, 7, 8, 7, down to G. Down to the G string, I mean. Then when the riff goes further down, we can't do this and find a C bass note easily. So just drop down to this C sus2 voicing, which lets you get this note on your G string is what carries the melody through. And then you move over to the note on the B string, 3rd fret. So it's G string, 5th fret, then B string, 3rd fret. So you start the chord, don't strum further than the G string, so you get that note. And then the last bit, when we move to the G, what we're doing here is we're going for a G with both of these fingers on the B and the G strings. Get your second finger on the bass note, but your first finger's now, instead of going to be on the A string, it's going to be on the E string, the first string, and you're going to lift that pinky off the 3rd fret. The note's going to go down to the 2nd fret, so you get this, which is like a G major 7 of sorts, but what we're doing is we're muting that A string with this finger, and you get this really nice sounding chord. So that lets us play that melody all the way through, as well as the bass line. So we're going. Now the verses are dead easy. They're D, and don't do a full D major because you don't really want to hear that high note. So you can do a D power chord up here. You can do what Billy Duffy starts to do, which is play this D riff here. But as I said, when it goes to the C, he's got to cover the bass line as well. You've got to cover the bass line as well because you're the only guitarist, right? So start with your D, or D sus2. Move to a C add 9, but I don't even really think you need that major 3rd there on the 2nd fret of the D string. And strum 8th notes. And put the accents here. Dun, 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 dun. There's your verse. When it goes into that first little break section, it's the same riff, but it's slightly different. So what we do is this, start off the same way, but we slide this pinky up to the 12th fret. And when you do that, just lift your finger off the note without lifting it off the string, so you muffle that G string. Don't bring that note up with you. Don't press down on that note when it's on the G string 9th fret because that's not going to sound good. Just play the D string and the 12th fret B string. Then down to the C sus2. Second time through, same thing. With your note on the high E string. Then we're back into another verse. Everything is pretty straightforward from there on through. It just moves from your chorus to your verse and your riffs, and at the end it does that riff again. There's one little bit as they're chorusing out. After the breakdown, actually, there's a breakdown in the middle where it does that intro. It comes in here and it goes. All he's doing there is going 10, 8, 7 while he's on the G string there on the 7th fret. And does it just once. Just kind of comes in with a crash after that breakdown in the middle there. And that's the entire song. I hope that was useful. It's a great song, and it's really fun to play this on one guitar and kind of get it going with that bass line as well, because like I said, the bass line, as simple as it is the real killer part of this song. Fantastic guitar riff, but would be less without the bass line. Thanks for watching. See you here again next time.